Hey guys, welcome back to the Shelton Movement and Performance YouTube channel. Today we're going to go over squatting and specifically what I might be able to do to help you guys get through some squats without any pain. The reason that I'm making this video is because I've been getting a lot of emails lately that said, hey Dr. Shelton, I'm at home squatting and it's killing my back, or I'm basically not able to squat anymore. Can you tell me what might be going on there and what I might be able to do to fix it? And these are people that, by the way, that I know are both either squatting with a barbell on their back, or it can be people that are squatting just free body weight, no weights whatsoever in their hands. So this works for both if you're lifting with a little bit of weight, or if you're just doing, your body pump or things like that, where you're at home and you're just trying to do repetitive squats. And I think the most helpful thing that I can do for you guys is we need to go over ankle mobility and specifically how that may or may not be attributing to some back pain while you're squatting. So a couple things to think about real quick right here is ankle mobility is in the top 3 predictors of an injury. And what I mean by that is a predictor of injury is something that if you have this, then you're more at risk for an injury. And the top 2 are a prior history of injuries. So something happened to me in the past, like I blew out my ACL and now I might be more at risk for a back injury down the line, or I sprained my ankle and maybe my knees are killing me for whatever reason. So that's a past history of injury. And then, right behind that one is the severity of that past injury. So if I have a ruptured Achilles, for example, stacked up against a mild ankle sprain, it's reasonable that the person with a ruptured Achilles may expect a little bit more of an injury risk down the line. So, but number 3, what we're going to go over today is ankle mobility. And really what I'm talking about here is ankle asymmetry. There are a lot of things that we could go over with ankle mobility for the squat in general, and that's not what this is going to focus on. This is going to focus on whether or not you have an asymmetry between both ankles. So whether or not one moves more than the other, and what to do to both assess that and how you might go about starting to fix that and then reinforcing it later on while we're using the squat. And remember, I'm talking about back pain here, so I know that we're going to be assessing the ankle, but what I think is important for you guys to understand is how the ankle might be able to affect your spine. So I'm going to try to tilt this down here, back up a little bit so you might be able to see me move. So let's imagine for a second that my right ankle here doesn't move as far as it should, and I've got ankle asymmetry with that right side not moving as far. The body's going to do a couple of things. First and foremost, when I try to squat, what may happen is I may just run out of space here. My body keeps going down on the other side, and I continue to squat, and I get a very rotated squat form. So that's dangerous, number 1, because you want to be neutral and as stable as possible, especially in the spine, and even more especially while you have load on your back. But even repetition of the wrong thing over and over again is going to cause an addition of these micro failures that will eventually cause pain. So that's one of the more common things. And then the other 2 are a little bit more subtle, but I'll try to show you as best I can, is while I'm squatting, you'll see me pronate in this ankle. And what that means is, I'll just exaggerate, that ankle rolls in. And essentially what happens is I'm trying to dorsiflex at the ankle, right? So I'm trying to do this motion where my shin goes forward on my foot. And when your body doesn't have that to give, what it will do is it will try to use other joints to essentially get out of the way, because you're going to squat whether your body wants you to or not. So it's got to find a way to let you do that. And one of the ways it does that is it gives you more motion, because that's what pronating does. It gives you more motion by breaking down essentially the arch of your foot, allows you to get a little bit more into the squat. And you can already see there are plenty of people that tear their ACLs this way. There are a lot of people that end up with hip impingement. And once you lose that stability, that positioning in those hips of perfect stability, you're going to have leakages of energy in your core, and your back is going to suffer for it because it's going to end up taking on a little bit more than it should. I know that's hard to follow, but bear with me here. So if you imagine I'm squatting like this over and over again, logic would say that my knee is going to be the first thing that ends up bothering me, and a lot of people it does, but some people it skips both the knee and the hip, and it works its way up into the back. So that's the second way. And then really quickly, the third way is your foot will just get out of the way. And what I mean by that is, as you squat, that foot is going to come out over to the side. I actually knew somebody that got disqualified in an NFL combine because of that, and I caught it when he was coming in for a hamstring issue, and I asked him what was going on with his ankle, and he said, how did you know that? That got me DQ'd from a professional football team. And it's because in professional sports, they know the most subtle little cues to look at that say that person is a huge risk of injury. And that's really harsh, but that is something that people will see immediately. They'll see that ankle turn out and they'll go, uh-oh, something's up there. That kind of person typically has a lot of injuries in their hamstrings or their back in this case. So again, that's just that foot getting out of the way, and you can see that hip rotates out. You get a terrible position, and once again, your back becomes the culprit of some unwanted shear force and some lack of stability. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over how you can assess yourself and what you can do to fix it if it is the case that you have some ankle mobility issues. For those of you watching this video and you're a lifter or a power lifter, I can't imagine you haven't seen this technique, or even Olympic lifters like CrossFit. I can't imagine you haven't seen this technique before. But for the rest of us, this is really important for you to just get a baseline on your ankle mobility. And that is to take your balled up fist and place it between the wall and your toes. Okay, so that's about the distance that you should be away from the wall. And now I should be able to bend at the ankle and touch my knee to the wall without my heel lifting up off the floor. So I should be able to do it without that happening. Okay, and then I'm going to switch sides and see if the other side matches up. And it does. Good. And not only do you want to make sure that your heel is not lifting up off the floor like this, instead going in, but one little trick that not a lot of people look at while they're doing this is as they're going forward, that foot collapses, that arch collapses, and they're allowed that extra space. That's also not what you want. That means that you have a mobility problem at that ankle. So now we have a question to answer. One of two things. What stopped my knee from getting to the wall? Did I either A, feel a pinch up in the front of my ankle, or B, was it a little bit more of a stretch in the back somewhere? And that'll really help us decide what to do next. If it was a stretch in the back somewhere, what I'm going to have you do first is I'm going to have you try to calm that area down, because it's really just a soft tissue, a mobility problem that we're going to try to clear up. So I'm going to have you grab a ball, foam roller, whatever you've got laying around, and we're going to find a tender spot. We're going to find a tender spot in that calf. And once we get on it, I don't want you to roll on it. I just want you to sit there with your leg crossed over, add a little bit of extra pressure, and try to allow that foot to calm down and relax. See how I'm not stiffened up like this. I'm just loosely relaxed. And I'm going to allow this area to rest for about 3 to 5 minutes. Once I get done with that, I'm going to retest. If that solves my problem, great. Let's move on to some squatting to reinforce that. If it doesn't, then we need to check out this next one, and this is what we would do first if we had that pinch up in the front. So let me reiterate. If that didn't work for your soft tissue problem, or if you are doing the wall test and you find that you have a pinch in the front of your ankle, that's what leads you to believe that you should do this next drill. And this is what I'm going to show you. For this, I'm just going to use a dowel rod. You can use a broomstick, a club, anything that you've got sitting around the house, baseball bat. And I'm going to line it up at the base of my pinky toe. Now from here, I'm going to try to keep that foot flat on the ground and track my knee as far forward as I can while that foot stays flat. And then I'm going to come back up. I don't want to do this right here. I want to make sure that my knee gets outside of the straight up and down pole. And I go as far forward as I can, and then I come back out of it. I'm going to probably do that about 10 times. And then again, I'm going to retest at the wall. If that clears up my ankle mobility issue, there's a fairly good chance that I can resume squatting with less or no pain. Now guys, please keep in mind that there can be almost infinite number of reasons that your back is in pain. This is just one of the few. So don't go load up the bar as heavy as you can right off the bat. Really make sure that you're testing yourself out first and you can do something that is pain-free. If you can do it pain-free, start giving yourself some graded exposure. And what I mean by that is dip your toe in. Don't go from 0 to 60. Work yourself back into it to where you can consistently maintain that ankle mobility and then squat without any problems. So thank you guys very much for checking this video out. I hope it was helpful. Stick around. We'll see you next time. Thought you were done with me. Hey, bonus time, guys, because I caught myself. This is one of the things that I would actually recommend you do if you're watching the video. my left foot actually comes up off the ground a little bit. And what that was my foot actually pronated a little bit. I didn't know that about myself. It's been a little while since I've been doing squats and I've been doing this test on myself. So instead of being total hypocrite and just rolling the video and letting it go and hoping nobody noticed, I figured I'd throw you guys a little bit of a bonus if that's cool with you guys. Sorry for taking up so much of your time. But I came in here and what I did was I got me a band. Now, in full disclosure, you do need a band for this, but I've got a band that's attached to my weight machine behind me. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the band basically right in the crease of my ankle right here. You notice you'll have your ankle bones. You're pretty much gonna line up on the lower end of them. And then I'm gonna get a pretty good amount of resistance on this leg. Let me make sure you guys can see this. And then I'm gonna try to keep my heel on the floor, and I'm gonna dorsiflex through it. And full disclosure, I came on here and did this before I shot the video. So I already know that if I do that right there a bunch of times, and then we're gonna come over here to the wall, we're gonna retest. I'll let you get up nice and close so you can see. We're gonna retest. There we are. Flat foot, actually getting a little bit more. So appreciate you guys making me shoot this video because you made me catch myself on something. Now I can squat without any pain. I hope you guys enjoyed that bonus. Stick around for more content.